Hello, everyone. How have you been today? I'm going to share with you guys an eye-opening event of my life that will surely dismay you. But before getting into the video, don't forget to click the subscribe button if you want to have more curious and gripping real couple stories. Meet me. This is Julian Luke. I'm a 31 years old man. I'm based in Phoenix, where I am currently working as a real estate agent. That lady really messed my life while tracing back to the year 2018 when I got married to my cousin Sophia. To be honest, Sophia initiated this relationship as she first proposed to me. That time when she proposed to me was literally a miracle to me because I remember she used to ignore me since childhood. Well, soon we got married because I used to have a crush on her since childhood. I remember at the starting days of our married life, Sophia used to be very responsible, compassionate and caring. Whenever I used to come back home from my workplace, she used to cuddle me tightly. She used to understand when I was frustrated and tired and then used to try her best to make me happy and relaxed. Our physical relationship is really good and comfortable. She used to surprise me every night with hot lingerie. I always used to be thrilled to see her in bed wearing that red lingerie. I really got addicted to her. Sexy and slattery acts and simple life is going perfectly. All right. But one day something really ridiculous happened. I was sleeping peacefully with my wife while I woke up in order to quench my thirst. I found my wife nowhere in the bedroom. I thought that maybe she was in the wardroom. So I ignored and slept again. After about 20 minutes, when I again woke up accidentally, I saw my spouse nowhere. I rashly stood up in order to scout her. I heard weeping sounds coming from the guest room. Like if someone was being. When I opened the door, I was shocked to see my wife crying badly on the phone call. As soon as she found me behind her, she began to wipe her tears with her hands. She began to hide her mobile phone. When I asked her what happened to her, she said that she was talking to one of her friends whose mother had just passed away. I then encouraged her by patting her on the shoulder. I remember that was really strange because her phone was continuously vibrating. Like someone was really desperate for her. The next morning when I woke up, I was shocked to see my wife at front of mirror. She was wearing a very fancy dress. I wondered why she must not wear such frilly clothes at her friend's mother's funeral. I remember she was holding the document file as well. Well, I asked her where she was going. She said that she was going to see her friend. I really did not understand what was the meaning of the document file with her. When I asked her, should I drop her off to her friend's house? She refused that day. She seemed really upset and disturbed. She was not talking to me properly. Even that day, she had not prepared the breakfast for me. She did not even say goodbye to me and then left. Her behavior was literally beyond my understanding. The same night when I reached the house, I was shocked to see the house door locked. It meant that my wife was not present in the house. It was about 11 a.m. of the night. I was really worried about her because she did not do this before. I called my wife so many times, but she did not respond me. Well, I unlocked the door and then entered inside. I kept waiting for my wife, even I was continuously calling her, but she was not picking up my call. I remember it was about 3 a.m. The night when my wife reached home, she seemed really tired and inactive. I remember her eyes were swollen as if she had cried tremendously. When I asked her furiously where she was, my wife replied that she was with her friend who wanted her to spend time with me. I remember that she was not having her document filed with her at that time. She did not talk to me properly. Instead hit the sack. Even though that night, my wife's phone was continuously vibrating, I really did not consider and slept. But the next morning when I woke up, I was shocked to see my wife preparing herself in front of the mirror again in such early morning. I thought that she may be going to her friend's house again. My wife told me that her friend suggested that she get a good job at the cosmetic company as a seller. She further said to me that she was going to work and it was her first day at work. She further asked me to get ready early and she wanted to drop her off at her workplace. I hurriedly took my cold shower, ate some breakfast and then dropped her to her workplace. I remember her workplace seemed like an ordinary house because I did not find it organized properly. My wife's activities have been getting awkward and creepy since she started a job. Like one day, it was a Saturday's night. I was expecting my wife to entertain me by wearing hot clothes in bed like before. But I was shocked to find her really dull. I remember I was really high at that time and was trying my best to seduce her. But she was continuously pushing me back like she didn't. I don't want anything moreover. I remembered that even that time my wife's phone was continuously vibrating. Her entire concentration was on her mobile phone. At last, she finally said that she was not in the mood of having romance. I did not convince her and then I slept. I was kind of disappointed in her. I remembered the same night when it was about 2 a.m. my wife was on a phone call. I really did not know what was the matter. The next morning when I asked my wife what she was talking about last night, my wife's response was really disappointing. She began to crawl with me that I must not suspect her blah, blah. She became really rude. She had never talked to me in this harsh way before. I remember she became so crazy that I called my uncle to tease and judge her. I tried my best to fix her mood even though I took her to dinner at her favorite restaurant, but she did not agree. Her rude attitude was literally on my nerves. One day I decided to fix everything and reconcile with my wife. I went to the bedroom. That time she was chatting with someone on her mobile phone. I held her hand with affection and moved closer to her. I remember she seemed really confused. I asked her why she was behaving so rudely and harshly. Since last month, at first, my wife remained quiet. She did not even make an eye contact with me. Then she demanded that I gave my card to her. I promised to buy her a new car after 2 months, but she did not agree. Well, I decided to share my car with her in order to make her happy. The very next morning when I woke up, my wife seemed really happy and excited that morning. She even prepared delicious pancakes for me as well. Finally, both of us went to our workplace. She dropped me off at my workplace and then left for her workplace in my car. That day, one of my coworkers dropped me to my house as after getting free for my work, I kept calling my wife but she did not respond. I remember it was about 12 a.m. but my wife did not reach the house yet. I was really very worried about her because I was thinking that maybe my wife was in trouble because she was not too aware of driving. That night, my wife reached the house at about 11 a.m. She was fully drunk and was unable to stand properly. She seemed extremely tired as soon as she reached the house. She did not answer my any of questions. Instead threw away her clothes and then slept. I was shocked to see some marks on my wife's back. It seemed like someone had bite my wife. I'm sure that the marks were actually love bites. To be honest, there was no place for my anger. But at that time, I had no evidence to prove my point. The next morning, as usual, my wife was wearing a load of makeup. I went to the washroom in order to have a cold shower when I came out quickly and started my breakfast. Meanwhile, my wife said that she was getting late from her workplace. I remember she began to argue with me and then I told her to go to her workplace in my car. She did not even think about me and then left. Well, then I booked the cab and then reached to my workplace. I remember the way my wife behaved with me in the morning was continuously popping up in my mind. I really did not know, what was that actually wrong with her. Then I reached the house as usual with my wife, but she was not present in the house. I was literally tired of her irresponsible behavior and was just about to call my uncle in order to discuss her with him. Meanwhile, I received a call from my wife. I remember she was crying badly. My feet froze after hearing her bell ring. When I asked her what had happened to her, she said to me that my car had vanished. She further told me that she parked my car outside of her workplace. But when she came out, after finishing her work, she found my car nowhere. She further cried and said that my car had been stolen. After hearing this, I was literally like a fish out of water. But I remember that when I had bought this car, I had secretly fixed the tracker once in my car without even telling my wife because of my car's security. Well, I asked my wife to come home and then I went to the police station. There in the police station, I told everything about my car and then told them about the tracker I fixed. My wife was continuously calling me at that time. She had no idea that I was in the police station. I remember the police succeeded in getting my car within 6 hours because of the tracker that I fixed. I reached the house at about 6 a.m. Remember my wife was shocked to see my car with me. She was stunned and then asked me where I got this car back. I told her the whole matter. I remember she was continuously asking about the punishment of the robber who had stolen my car. But I did not know about the exact punishment. So I did not tell my wife anything. I remember my wife cunningly began to tell me that I must take my complaint back because according to her, maybe someone trapped that robber in that case. I did not listen to her and asked her to take care of my car. From now onwards, I remember the very next morning, my wife seemed really upset and pale. She was not even eating breakfast. I thought that maybe what happened last night was ruining her mental peace. Things were getting complicated. Day by day after 2 days of this incident, my wife again reached the house late at about 11 p.m. When I left the house in order to receive my wife, I caught sight of my car. I was shocked to see my car's quarter window broken. When I asked her what happened to the window, my wife said that one of the naughty kids threw a stone at this window. I asked her to take care of the car and then slept. My wife was becoming more and more mysterious day by day, like she was completely changed. Even after about 2 days, I found my car's hubcap, very faint and dull. When I asked my wife to give my car back temporarily to me as I wanted my car for the service, she began to quarrel with me by saying that I did not give her my car from my heart. I really did not want any argument. So I ignored it. Even when one day, my car's front bumper was all destroyed, but I did not say my wife anything. It seemed like my wife was intentionally destroying my car. I always used to ignore. But one day I was shocked to see my wife breaking my car's headlight with a stone. I was shocked to see her kicking my car harshly. I was really furious that time. But instead of saying her anything, I decided to chase her in order to know the matter. When I followed my wife, I was shocked to see her stopped outside of the police station. I kept following her and was shocked to see my wife talking to the person in the jail who had stolen my car. I remember my wife's eyes were filled with tears and she was giving him flying kiss. I yelled at my wife angrily. My wife confessed something that was unbelievable. At first she was all quiet. But later she said that the person in the jail was her boyfriend since she was in the university. She further said that her father did not let her marry with that person because he was so poor that her father declared her boyfriend a murderer. She started hating her boyfriend and started a new life with me. But then she met her boyfriend again on Facebook after about 7 months. And then he told her reality. She was helping her boyfriend in stealing that car because her boyfriend wanted to have money. She further said that she was destroying my car because that car was the only reason of her boyfriend's suffering in the jail. I remember my wife cried loudly and began to abuse her father that she must not destroy her life by separating her from her boyfriend. I remember my eyes were filled with tears that time. I told her my car's insurance and divorced her at the moment because she would never be happy with me. What would you do if you were in the same situation?